Hello there. I wanted to have a quick chat to you about a couple of different ways that you can get involved in this year's election process directly. The first one is really simple. It's try to help out the Electoral Commission. They're always on the hunt for people around election time because it is such a massive undertaking. And you can just jump onto the Electoral Commission website and see what jobs are available in your electorate. Sign up. They're usually pretty flexible in the amount of hours that you can work, so you can work around other schedule issues that you might have, like if you've got kids that you got to work with, or another job you want to work with. It's super easy. There are a couple of things you need to be aware of though before you apply. First of all, you've got to be impartial in public, which rules me out. You can't have anything out there that's deliberately trying to sway people for or against specific parties. The other thing is that there is a really, really strong vetting process in place. So make sure that if you're going, that you are going to pass the vetting stage, because that's really important. One of the other things that you can do to get involved, if you can't do the electoral stuff like me, is to go along to public meetings, because this year we know that Voices for Freedom and probably other disinformation groups are going to go out of their way to try and manipulate these meetings, because they see it as a really good way to score points and build social media content. In fact, Voices for Freedom have put out a list of 11 different tips for their members to follow, and it includes things like record what you're doing, because that's how they talk other people into believing that some things are amiss with the election process. There's some really simple stuff in there which does make sense for pretty much anyone, like be respectful and sensible. But there's also a couple of ways that they're looking at manipulating how these meetings go, like making sure if you go in a group that you're not all sitting together and not talking to each other during the meeting, or giving side-eye glances to each other when the candidate says something that they don't like. Not that you're supposed to be paying attention to what the candidates say, it actually says that you should have everything you want to say written down on a note, so you can rehearse it and say it and ignore what anybody else is saying. Also has tips like make sure you take hold of the microphone if you're asked a question and turn your body away from the person who is there with the microphone, because you don't want them to take it off you. That kind of sensible, respectful behavior. Ultimately, these groups are going out of their way to try and bring on doubt as to how our electoral process works. And that's really concerning. And that's why we as voters and as the public need to make sure that we're aware of what tips and tricks that they're putting in place to try and stop that from happening, to make sure everybody has a chance to have their say and to be heard. Now, if you're organising one of these meetings as well for candidates, Fact Aotearoa have a fantastic little spreadsheet that you can download that gives you some tips on what you can do to minimize the disruption from these organizations, because that's their aim, to disrupt. And nobody wants that. Nobody going to a meeting wants that. Nobody who's running wants that. The voting public don't want that.